Day 13, Covalent Compounds. Now, today we're not going to really pay too much attention to what this word covalent means. What we're trying to do is we're trying to name chemical compounds. Now, what I will tell you is that when we do name covalent compounds, they are two nonmetals bonded together. So remember that little zigzag line in the periodic table? We're looking for two nonmetals that are bonded together. For elements that fit that description, this is how we're going to name them. Okay, and so we first have to know the prefixes. Sometimes this is called the prefix system. And so we look at these prefixes from mono, di, tri, tetra, penta, hexa, hepta, octa, nona, and deca. Now they're pretty easy to memorize, but you have to know the first 10 prefixes. And so make sure that you memorize those. So let's get started with some actual problem solving. Carbon monoxide. You might think, okay, I understand monoxide because there's one oxygen. But how come it's not monocarbon monoxide? Well, the prefix mono is never used if there's only one atom of the first element. So we would never say monocarbon monoxide. We would always just say carbon monoxide. Now that there's two atoms of oxygen, we'll say carbon dioxide. Nitrogen monoxide. Again, there's only one nitrogen and there's one oxygen, so nitrogen monoxide is the name. Nitrogen dioxide, NO2. Dinitrogen monoxide. Dinitrogen trioxide. Dinitrogen tetroxide. Dinitrogen pentoxide. I'm hoping that these are going easy for you. This is one of the easiest ways to learn how to name compounds. When you have two nonmetals bonded together, you use the prefix system. Phosphorus trichloride, phosphorus pentachloride. Now this is probably familiar. This is water. And water, the chemical name for water is dihydrogen monoxide. Dihydrogen monoxide. Oxygen difluoride, xenon hexafluoride, carbon tetrachloride, sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide, iodine heptafluoride, nitrogen triiodide, diphosphorus pentoxide, diphosphorus pentasulfide. Now, one of the things you might have noticed at those last two is this penta, P-E-N-T-A. If the prefix ends in a vowel, like this A, the prefix has a vowel, you see, notice that here there is a consonant, S, in front of it, and so we keep the A, and so we say pentasulfide. But here where we have the vowel A, notice that we have another vowel, O. And so what we typically do is we drop the A from the prefix. So we would say pentoxide rather than pentaoxide. So that's just a general nomenclature. Also, you might be interested to know that over here where I named this carbon monoxide, it will always be carbon monoxide. But there's a general consensus to name things like nitrogen monoxide because there's only one oxygen, to just go ahead and name this nitrogen oxide. And so another name for this would be nitrogen oxide. One of the things that you should know, though, you need to be careful because carbon monoxide will always be called carbon monoxide. You would never call this carbon oxide. This is always carbon monoxide. Okay? So remember, this is the easiest way to name compounds. Two nonmetals bonded together. And so you look for that zigzag line in the periodic table. If you remember, these over here are metals. These over here are nonmetals. and the ones on the zigzag line, we call those metalloids or semiconductors. Hopefully you found this easy. So go ahead and get started with your quiz and see how you do.